Hi everyone, this is Matt. Welcome back to Touchgrass Gardening and Happy New Year. So today I'm going to walk you through my 5 favorite trees of 2023. Those that have looked the best, grown the best, and have made me the happiest to grow. And I want you to think about these trees as those that you want to put in your yard in 2024. So the first one that I have behind me is the silk floss tree. And this is one that is probably the most eye-catching of the trees in my yard, because of all the spikes that are on the trunk going all the way up into 10 feet of spikes. And this is something that you don't often see on any other type of tree around my area in Phoenix, Arizona. And I just love the look of it. It's against the back end of our property, and everyone that walks by always stops and takes a second look at this tree. The other great thing about this tree is it's pretty hardy. So this is a full sun area of my yard. There's a little bit of shade on the west side from an ash tree, but this gets sun all day long and it can take it. And you can see that this tree is now in the ground for only 2 years. When we bought it, it was about 8 feet tall. It's now, I'd say, 20 feet tall, and it's just done great. The nice thing about this tree is that in the fall, it also blooms these big pink blooms that we already had a few of this year. I think in year 3 and 4, it's going to get a lot more blooms, but right now you can see it's been down to just about freezing. It still has its leaves. When it freezes, this tree does lose its leaves, so it's a semi-deciduous. If you're in a tropical climate, it will keep its leaves, but in a climate here where we do get freezes, it loses its leaves, but then they come back in the spring. So it's a pretty versatile tree, pretty tough tree. And you can see that it's big. I don't have any wind support for it. It's never had anything where it broke, but you can see how beautiful and unique looking this tree is. So this is probably my top pick of 2023 in trees that I love in my yard. So for the next tree, I'm going to show you the fastest growing, what I think will be the largest tree in my yard in short order, and that's the rainbow eucalyptus. So you can see right now I have this protected by plastic. It's actually a zone 10 tree. I'm in zone 9B. So when it gets cold, I cold protect it, and I'll open up this plastic in just a second to show you the heater inside. But you can see this tree is, 25, 30 feet tall. And when I bought it, it was 8 feet tall. So it's been in the ground for 2 years and it's grown 20 feet. This is the fastest growing tree that I've ever seen. And it's just been beautiful. Has lots of blooms, has lots of different colors. And then what's the most interesting thing about this tree is the trunk itself. So let me open up this plastic and show you what the trunk is looking like right now. If you come over here, you can see like all this multicolor on the trunk. How beautiful this is. I just love the look of this trunk, and it does so well in full sun here in Phoenix. It loves the sun, it loves water, but it doesn't love cold. So in the winter I put a little heater by it when it freezes, and for the first year that has seemed to be enough. Now that it's bigger, I think it's probably even tougher, and we'll survive our winters just fine. So this is my number 2 tree of 2023. It's a unique tree. It's another one where when someone comes to your yard, you can talk about it, because they're the type of trees that you only see in tropical environments. A lot of people remember these trees after they visit Hawaii because of all the multicolored trunk that you see there. So as these get bigger, the trunk continues to get more and more color, and because this is only a 3-year-old tree, there's only some color, but over time, as it gets bigger, it really starts to gain that rainbow color that it gets its name for. So this is the rainbow eucalyptus, and this is my number 2 tree of 2023. So if you come this way, I'm going to show you what is my number 3 tree of the year, which is the Aravaipa Avocado. And this tree is actually one that is unique to the Phoenix area. I think it actually originated here from a seedling that was found in the Aravaipa Valley in Arizona. And it's been propagated by one of the local nurseries here, Green Life Nursery, and you can find these trees there. And this is an avocado tree, but again, we bought it when it was about 4 or 5 feet tall, and now it's 10 feet tall. And this has been in the ground for 2 years now, so it is one that I don't protect in the summer or the winter. And you know, we do get a fair bit of sun protection because I have this oleander on the west side of the Aravaipa Avocado, but in the winter there's no protection. I don't put any extra plastic around this tree. And if you come over here, you can see just how big the trunk has gotten in 2 years' time. I mean, this, I can barely get my hand around it anymore, and it's just solid. I have 5 avocado trees in my yard, and this one has grown the fastest and is the most solid tree. So that's why it makes my list for 2023, because it's just gotten, you know, so thick, so strong. It's starting to get that bark that you want from an avocado so that it can survive our summers. Because when they're young, they just have that green trunk, and now this one actually has bark. So I think this one is going to survive and do well. We haven't got any fruit yet, but I think we might this next year. And I really like the look of the tree. It looks beautiful like any avocado tree, but it has nice spread, nice shape, and the leaves stay green. Some of the other avocados I have, there's a fair bit of browning on the leaves, and I think this one is more well adapted to our alkaline and clay soil, which is not good soil, but because this seedling was found in the area, I think it's well adapted as an avocado to the Phoenix area and our soil. So I really highly recommend this Aravaipa Avocado, and it's my number 3 tree of 2023. All right, so if you come this way around the plastic that's on my mango right now, my number 4 tree is one you've already seen a bit of this year in one of my earlier videos about how to winter protect a lychee, but this is a Mauritius Lychee. So this is probably the tree that has surprised me the most in how well it's done. I didn't know if it would grow well here, but because I think of the position I've put it in, which is, you know, filtered all day sun behind an oak tree, and then also, you know, digging a really wide hole when I first planted it. I think it was probably 6 feet by 6 feet by 4 or 5 feet in the ground, so it's just an enormous hole, and put some you know, good soil in there so that it had time to grow before it hit our clay soil. And so I think this tree has really adapted and done well. You see, even now there's a ton of new growth all over the tree just from the past few weeks. And we've been at 32, 33 degrees, right above freezing in my yard for the past 3 weeks. And this tree has still just done well. And again, once it gets below freezing, I do cover it with frost fabric, and that will protect it pretty much for the winter. In the summer, it has done fine as well. It actually likes the heat a bit. It hasn't dried up or anything like that. So I think this tree is going to continue to do well here in the spot it's in, and I'm hoping to get fruit next year. So I want to share that with you in 2024 when I get fruit this spring, and we'll see how it does. But again, this is just a beautiful, wonderful tree, Mauritius Lychee. It was about 3 feet tall when we got it. Now it's about 6 feet tall, 6 feet wide. So it's just a wonderful, beautiful evergreen tree that's also going to give you delicious fruit. So this is my number 4 tree of 2023. And now my number 5 tree, we're going to go to the front yard now, and I'm going to show you a Royal Poinciana. All right, so this is my number 5 tree of 2023, which is the Royal Poinciana. And this was my favorite tree when I thought about trees that I wanted to put in my yard. I always wanted a Royal Poinciana. I wanted it on the most prominent display possible. So I have it in my front yard, right next to my driveway, behind my mailbox. And it's the first thing you see when you come to my house. So I just really love the lush tropical look of this tree. It does great here in Phoenix. I was shocked how well it does because there's no protection here at all from the elements. This gets blasted with sun all day long in the summer. I don't even have it in mulch. It's just I kept the landscape rock here. And in the winter, it's a little bit trickier because once it freezes, it loses all of its leaves. But I do protect it a bit by wrapping it with this winter fabric that I'll link in the bottom of the description, and then also with C9 incandescent lights. So you can see these lights put off a little bit of heat, and I just wrap pretty much as I can of the tree so that it has a little bit of extra heat. And I put thermometers throughout. It does change the ambient temperature by about 5 degrees. If I don't have these lights on, it's about 5 degrees cooler. So for us here, it usually gets down to about 25 Fahrenheit, and that's borderline with killing this tree. So having these C9 lights, and then when it gets really cold, a little space heater here has kept it alive through the first winter, and it has just done great. I've had it in the ground 2 years now. It's been through 2 summers, 1 winter, going into the second winter now, and it's just lush, beautiful. Last winter it lost all of its leaves, was just a stick, but then in the spring it came back, and look how much growth is just in 1 year. 1 year of growth is like this. So this tree is so resilient, so strong. I just really love it. Again, it's the Royal Poinciana, and it's also one that has some of the most beautiful blooms in the world. It's called the flamboyant tree. So once it blooms, it has these big red flowers that will be all throughout the tree. And I'm hoping in the next year we'll have those blooms for the first time, because I've read that once it gets about 20 feet tall or so, that's when it's going to start blooming. So I hope to show you those in 2024 and have you stick around to see how my favorite trees continue to do throughout the years. So there you have it, my top 5 trees of 2023. Silk Floss, Rainbow Eucalyptus, Aravaipa Avocado, Mauritius Lychee, and Royal Poinciana. Now, if you can tell me what your favorite trees of 2023 are, I'd love to know and think about if I should plant them in my yard. So please comment below, and we'll continue to share the love of gardening in 2024. Thank you.